Alright, welcome to this little mini-series on how to create your very first order in MonuDesk. Holy moly, this is going to be really great for you. So how does the system work? You have this entire board for you. Imagine this is your file cabinet. Here you have your quotes, your confirmed orders. It goes from left to right, goes into order received, design approved, stolen in production. We'll cover this in another video. Basically, it's a board that goes from left to right. Now, why is that important? Well, today we're going to answer the question, how do we create our first order and how do we even get orders onto this board? It's very simple. What we do is we would just click new quote, and every time we complete the new quote window, there are two outcomes, actually three outcomes. So the first one is we complete the whole thing and we confirm the order. Then it lands right here. So we tell the system, all right, this is a paying customer. He just or she just paid us. The other outcome is this is a quote. We save it as a quote. That means, all right, the customer is kind of not 100% sure, or we'll just do the payment later. And the third outcome is we just don't save it at all. Like, it's not a confirmed order. It's not a quote. It's something in between because maybe the customer left in the middle of the conversation, or we just had to cancel this for some reason. It will just land right here and we can always delete the drafts. Okay, but let's actually take a look at how we can create a order. So let's dive into it. What I would do here, what you need to do is you need to hover over new quote here and click create new quote. Then we're gonna see a step-by-step process where in the first page we fill out the customer details, then the cemetery location and the scheduling. Then we, configure the stone and kind of the sketch, and yeah, then the billing. That's it. So let's do it together here. What I'll do is I'll just type in my name, Dennis Roden, and what you can see, it's already auto-filling the contact because I have this contact saved in my contacts, and now I can just click this and boom. Now let's say, for example, in our contacts, if this would be if we categorize this contact as a wholesale customer, so if it's a monument company, if it's a funeral home, another business type, or if it's a cemetery, then it will be counted as a wholesale order, and then it will appear as a wholesale order on your board. But yeah, first we fill out the first name, the last name. These two fields are mandatory. Then we have the phone number or the email address that we need to fill out. Now, little bonus, as of right now, 11th of May, if you fill out the email address, then the customer can receive a customer portal link. If you don't do it, if you don't just fill out the phone number, then at the moment the customer portal is not supported. But yeah, we can also type in the address. It will autofill here, and we can hit next. So if we hit next, now that we fill out the first name, the last name, and one of either phone or email, we can see that all of these steps are now clickable. So we can just jump through here, fill out whatever we have, whatever we want. Pretty much everything here is optional from here on. We can add one of our cemeteries, and these cemeteries, we add them here with add new, or just in our settings. There are three buttons that we can click with the cemetery and plot details. So we can click client different than cemetery plot owner, fill out the first name, last name, etc. That's really good if there's another plot owner, maybe a family member from 200 years ago who purchased the land. Then we can add the cemetery plot info, which is just a section, lot, space, the decedent, first name, middle name, and last name. We can always add more plots here. Installation notes. These are just, installation notes. And then we have the scheduling. So we can schedule a specific date range. This is really great for you if in 4 months. So for example, if you create this order today, then in 4 months, basically what you have promised your customer in terms of the timing. So you can just go here and click, let's say 5 months out, hit apply, and now The installation window is May 11th up until September 30th. And the promise date is the last day of this. Yeah, and then there's also a setting inside settings that we're adding this week, where you can basically decide, okay, 2 weeks before the promise date, the order turns red. So let's hit next. And we're now on the third step. It's very easy. So on the third step, we actually decide, okay, what is this order going to be about? Is it a monument or a service? So if we hit monument, we can select the monument type, upright, bevel, slant, flat marker. And based on what we press, different fields activate and different fields don't activate. So for example, if I click upright, we have the base on. I can click base on and then it becomes base off. We can select the color here. We can also just delete. We can delete colors, of course, but we can also add some. And then they're always saved. So let's just select Academy Black here. We see the base color. It can match the headstone color, or we can choose a different color, and then it will just, we can just select a different color. I'd say 90% of the orders will have matched headstone colors turned on. We can then, in the next step, but in the next part, we can select our finish or polish. So we can just click P2 on the right, P3, P5, S3, S5 for our polished, rock pitched, etc. Same with base, so we can click PFT, BRP or AP for all polished, or we can just click the drop downs and modify it ourselves. And then we have these options that you can see. Great, cool. Let's do a P3, PFT, BRP one. We can click polish margin, select and add our number here, add a sub base. This will add a few more fields here at the bottom. And we can decide the foundation material is granite. Now, if we don't click it, it will assume the foundation material is concrete. But it's quite simple, isn't it? Now what we can do is we can add our physical properties, so size. We can type in our inches or just feet inches. Now for demo purposes, I'll just type in 3333333. Like, it's very easy. I just press 3 on my keyboard. It already switches to the next step. And there's not so much clicking as it maybe looks like. Then let's go over the lettering style. Here we can just select our either it's sunk lettering here in this order, standard, V-sunk, U-sunk. As you can see, I can select multiple. So I can select V-sunk and U-sunk. So these two types are within this order. I can also click other and specify a style here. I can click raised lettering instead of sunk lettering. So that also works. Same with litho. I can also select multiple litho colors and also click other and specify color. So that's quite simple. At the end, not at the end, but next up we have carving type. So we can just select if it's flat, sandblasted or shaped carving. And after that, we have the accessories. So here, that's quite interesting because you can just click, you can enable the porcelain picture, enable the shape. We can just select it here. Either it's oval or rectangle. On your account, you probably have more. This is just my developer test account. So I'll just click rectangle. And now I can select a size. Okay, different size. And as you can see now, it says $150. It's saying that because here we have a price book. In fact, it's actually here. You maybe don't see it so well, but it's under accessories where my mouse is right now. I'll just zoom in for you. And if you click there, then you can just set up your sizes, your prices, and basically you just do it once. And then the next time you create a new quote or just a new order, the price just preloads here on the right side. We can also hit custom. If it's a custom porcelain with something that is not in the app yet, we can describe it. describe it here, upload a photo, or just click and also click charge now, and then just type in $200. Then the accessories will be $200. Yeah, as an example. And yeah, next up we have vases. So that's basically the same system. So yeah, it's quite simple. You don't have to remember your prices anymore. Next we have the etching. So we can hit laser etching, whether or not it's in-house or if it's done through a vendor. And then we can give the price to our customer here. If applicable, we can click color etching. And yeah, now at the end of all of this, we also have order notes where we can just add our notes and we can upload files here, as many as we want. Well, 10 files. Wow, that wasn't so difficult, wasn't it? Next up, what we can also do, if this is not a monument order, this can also be a service order. So to do that, we would just, instead of configuring the monument, we would just configure it as a service. Click service at the top here when we scroll up. And then we can select the service type, whether or not it's a repair, a cleaning, lettering. Then we can describe the service right here if we want to, and then this will be like the description will be rendered on the contract, invoice, and receipt, and the shop ticket. We can add our pricing here, for example. There are a few checkboxes that you can read through. They basically enable tasks on your order management, adds a rubbing task to your order, and so on. Yeah, and then photos and notes, which is basically the same as order notes at the bottom of the monument order, right? So on the monument side, we had a notes box with a button to upload files. And yeah, we also have the same here as well. So let's hit monument again and just add $1,000 as a price. Now on the right side, we have these little T buttons. What that means is we can just enable or disable tags for individual line items. Really depends on kind of where you are from and how tax is dealt in your state. We can make this order tax exempt by just clicking the tax button here where my mouse is. And we can, if we want to, we can add a line item right here, or we can just type in our name. A name for the line item. We can do, I don't know, memorial QR code. Yeah, for example, if the customer purchased one, we can type in $200 and then it will be part of our order. We can also do discounts, type in VA discount and do minus $200. Yeah, and then it will be like this. So let's hit next. The fourth step, which is the one that we're looking at now, is basically more about who's the person and what's going to be on the stone. So here we can add the first name. Let's just do Dennis. Middle name, we'll skip it. Last name Rodin. And we can add a date of birth. We can type in anything we want, so April 2nd, 2003. And then we can do date of death, April 2nd, 2026. Next up, what we can do is we can add an epitaph. So just like any text. And as you can see, this will be rendered right here at the bottom. So this is our sketch builder. This is basically our pen and paper sketch editor. This will be much more advanced in the next few months. But yeah, right now it's just our cute little sketch builder where we can add different shapes. So if we click this button here, next to select, we can add our monument shape. Do it like this, and then just select the whole thing by just dragging my mouse and holding it down. Now we can drag the entire sketch down here. We can click fill shapes. Everything will turn dark. And then we can click fill to, for example, like do a dark gray stone here and a white font color. Boom. How about we add a base now? We can also do that by just clicking the square icon and then, yeah, making this a bit higher, narrower. And now we have a nice base. We can add text. This is a text. Or here, let's do add flower drawing here. If we want to describe the stone, something about the stone, then we can add a red arrow. And there we go. Great. We also have a backside. Looks like this. And that's our sketch. Yeah, now you can of course click this image button and always upload your own sketch if you have one from your memorial designer. I really recommend you don't do this way, but you just, after you save the order, you just go inside the order into your notes and file section, and that's where you upload the drawing that you have from your other program. Yeah, but let's hit next. And then we're on the 5th step, which is billing and payment. The first 2 fields are, just for us to add payment details, the payment method, the payment notes. It's just text. It doesn't do anything in the system. It's just for our reference, really. So we just know what the person paid with. Let's just do check, for example. Just type in check, so we know that they paid with it, with their down payment. And we can add payment notes. Oh yeah, we can theoretically add a reference number for the check or something like this. The part below is more important because that one actually tells the system, how much we're getting paid now. So it may be 0% now, or because it's a quote, the person has to sleep a night, sleep on, before making the decision, or the person has to speak with their wife or left a credit card at home. So then it's just a quote. What we can do though, if this is a serious customer, we can just select our payment split, which is 50-50, for example, 100% upfront, 30-70. Or it may also just be a custom split. So we just click custom. Now we can either decide if it's a fixed amount or a percentage. So we can do like 40%, for example, and apply that split. 40-60. Hit next. And this is what our order looks like. And then we can save it as a confirmed order or save it as a quote. Now, right now we cannot save it as a quote because it is not a quote anymore. It's we're getting 40% down. So that's why I can only save it as a confirmed order. But if I do 0% here on the billing and payment step and I hit next again, then I can hit save as quote, and then it will be moved to the quote stage, and then we can continue working on the order, manage it, do our to-dos. It also creates a invoice automatically if we click this blue button here. Or let's say we would have clicked save as confirmed order. If we actually get a payment, then it will create a contract, an invoice, and also a receipt. And if it's connected with QuickBooks, it will also, sync it with QuickBooks. So it does quite a lot. It really saves you a lot of time. It's genuinely really good. If there's anything that we can improve on this, then just please use the feedback button on the left side here or the chat bubble on the bottom right. But let's save it as a quote and then we're done.